Hi. Okay, so obviously I'm not unconscious right now. I kind of want to be, but I'm not going to sleep yet. Okay, so the unconscious is the system 1 and the system 1 and 2 thinking thing. Yeah, if you don't know what that is, you can either sit here and watch me try to explain it, or you go to this YouTube video. Yeah, it's a pretty good video. I'm sure they're gonna explain it a lot better than me. Okay, so the concept that I'm talking about is from this guy. I don't really want to pronounce his name. In his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. So it's a pretty. I mean, I'm sure it's a good book. I haven't read it. So in the book, he describes system 1 as like the speedy thinking that you do. It's like unconscious. It's fast. It's intuitive. It's easy. It's fast. It's like going on autopilot and just making decisions without really thinking about them. You'd probably use this when you're on Instagram, just liking and putting posts on your story, or probably when you're like handwriting something. You're not really like thinking about the shape of the letters. You already know English, so you're kind of just writing stuff down. System 2 is pretty much the opposite of system 1. It's slower. It's more analytical. It requires more effort, and it is slower. You use this when you're like thinking of the words that you want to put down on the paper, or if you're writing in all caps. That's that requires a lot of brain power. For me, you'd probably also use this on Instagram if you're like trying to caption a picture, like this one. Yeah, that was a good caption. Yeah, so I actually like the concept of system 1 thinking. It's like being brain dead. I know it's not actually being brain dead. I just think saying that's kind of funny. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. It sounds funny. Anyways, yeah. I kind of there's like that one time in Monogatari when hang on.
ほら、鏡って光のいわゆる反射だけれど、光を全部反射するのは無理だから、一般的な鏡では反射率が 80% くらいなんだっけ? Okay, now replace that 80% with 90%, and that's how much time I've spent being brain dead today. I'm brain dead most of the time, so yeah, I wrote down sometimes that I just wasn't thinking correctly. Okay, so actually it's probably a better idea if I list off me being not brain dead first. Okay, so I kind of like driving. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but yeah, driving's pretty fun. And while driving, I usually hit the listen to music. But I have listened to podcasts before, which I have stopped doing that because I focus more on the words and like the meaning of the words than the road, which is probably not good. Yeah, so I started listening to Trash Taste, which I know they don't talk about super complex stuff, but my brain's just too small for that, bro. Any amount of like talking and me like actually actively listening just makes my brain power go from like here to here. Yeah, so that, yeah, I kind of stopped doing that, and then I started listening to music again. And then I started listening to this podcast, right? And it was to help you learn Japanese. And learning something while driving, I mean, that sounded like a good idea, because like good time management or something. But yeah, that took my brain power from like here to here. It was, yeah, it just took too much of my brain. I just could not focus on the road. Yeah, so I listen to music now. It kind of hits. I like listening to music. It's pretty fun. Okay, I guess I'm talking about being brain dead now, which I don't think there's too much to talk about here. Yeah, you guys know how I like act and stuff. Okay, so I think waking up before your alarm is pretty cool. It's just something I do unconsciously sometimes. I guess I just get used to when my alarm goes off. But I really don't know if that like translates to system 1, system 2 thinking.
because like I'm not even conscious when I make that decision, which I know system 1's about like unconscious decision making, but like I'm actually just sleeping, bro, and then I wake up. I don't know how that works. So I wrote down exams on here and how like I use brain power for these, but I took an exam a little bit ago, and bro, I did not use like any system 2 thinking. It was all system 1 during the exam. Before the exam though, like while studying, because I started doing that, yeah, I was using system 2, but like on the day of, yeah, it was mostly just me looking at all the answer choices and then picking out the most obvious one. I mean, I don't know how else I could have done it. Like, I guess I could have analyzed each question and then like decided between all the answer choices, but one of them was always obvious, so I kind of just picked that. I just went with my gut, and then I turned the exam in. But yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. I was just using system 1 during the exam, and yeah, it's I don't know, that was kind of weird. That was the first time that I actually like thought about thinking during an exam, which if you're wondering, I got an 88, so I did fine. But yeah, I think I am going to knock myself unconscious now and go to bed. Have a nice second, have a nice minute, have a nice hour. Let's have a nice day, have a nice week, have a nice month, have a nice year, have a nice decade, have a nice rest of your life, and good night.